Yo, how's it going? So, hey, man, we got a good one coming for you today. I'm fatter than hell, and I bought breakfast so I could witness to a guy, and I brought up a lot of stuff about Jesus. Coming out, I'm doing my pre-trip, and I'm like, man, we need to lay down a lot of prayer cover for our leaders, for our soldiers, and the ones that are going through it. You know what I mean? And a lot of these PTSD, demonically attacked people, they've been there, they've done that, they've seen the things they were going out and doing. So the devil wants to take them out. You got new levels, new devils. Anyway, I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm fat. And then I paid with a 20 and I give the guy $5. I'm like, man, you're doing a good job. I was able to witness to him and stuff. And excellent guy who doesn't even know that he's excellent. Kind of shy, timid type of fella. But you can just see it on him, dude. It's just like, he was a good dude. And then I really just went in there to get water because I got coffee, but it was hotter than hell. And then it was packed over there. Let's get rolling. It's going to be one of them days, I can tell by. It got hot, then it got cold, so all the pollen shifted. So I'm snotty today. Anyway, so I'm thinking, man, I don't need to be eating this bread. It's like a puff of bread with meat on the inside of it, bro, and baked. So it wasn't fried, so that's good. Wasn't really empanada. It was whatever you'd call a beef injected Hawaiian roll, I guess. It looked great. I'll be honest with you. It was making me hungry, but I'm fucking fat. I'm fat. So I thought, man, I don't need to eat this. There was a stray dog, and I was like, well, I'm trying to, be excellent. I'm trying to read my Bible and be accurate. And I was telling that guy about when I was ordering the food. He's sitting there making tacos or whatever. I was like, yeah, I can't eat the pork. I don't think we're supposed to. I don't know all the particulars, but I want to err on the side of caution. You got the good side, the bad side. The devil owns the fence, so I don't want to be on the fence on this deal. So I just go ahead and avoid bacon. And he's like, I like bacon. I was like, I like bacon too, man, but not enough to burn in hell or whatever. I said, I don't know for sure all the particulars about that. But I'm just going, for me, I'm just, I ain't going to hell over some bacon. You know what I mean? I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And that's a form of worship. And I said, well, I ate some bacon, and then I was driving and I felt bad. And that's what the deal was. That God will give you conviction. If you get a check in your spirit, like, man, I shouldn't do that. Freaking don't do that. You know what I mean? That's God talking to you. You hear all these people talking about, well, God told me this and God told me that. How did he tell you? Well, I read it in the book, and then when I did something, I felt a certain type of way. And in this case, that certain way, which if you're going to say certain type of way, please elaborate. A certain type of way has implications that are varied depending on who hears the phrase, I've noticed. So, for proper cornfield communications, you might need to be speaking over the crowd, so only those with ears to hear can hear. But then you might just be confusing the shit out of everybody, and you might as well just not say nothing at other times. So, when appropriate, use a certain type of way, and elaborate. Anyways, so the heartfelt, wholesome part of this deal, why I got so excited? fed the stray dog with the little beat balls. And I was just like, Andy likes dogs. You know what I mean? And I was literally thinking about Andy and DJ. Like I was walking around the truck thinking I need to make a video about prayer covering for TJ, and then the fox and the bear. I wanted to like inspire some type of prayer cover. And then I was thinking about the troops, and there's a lot of people that off theirself. Just had some dealings with that recently. We got a fresh widow to handle, and it's difficult. And yeah, anyway, so with all that on my heart, bro, I fed that dog, man, and I was just like, it was cool. And then yesterday morning, I seen that that lady had a wiener dog pit bull, and it was so cool. I was like, man, that's a good dog. And I just been praying a lot, man. I was watching, and the guy from the internet was having some issue with the he kind of elaborated a little bit, and he's like talking about some of the things that you've seen. And I kind of took that to heart, man, and I wanted to like really elaborate on some of the stuff that gave me PTSD. When it happened, a lot of this stuff happened before I even knew what the hell that was. I had heard the term shell shock, but I don't put the two and two together, right? And I've seen some of it, and I've seen it, tear people apart. And I remember as a young man, some of Dad's friends, and Dad too, and my uncle as well, how the difficulties were with them. And in the video I was watching from the guy on the internet, man, he's out there getting a build for his son. And the level of thank you, I'm about to cry. The level of thank you that I was able to extend right now, that he gets to do that for his son, bro. And the level of, I kind of, this morning I was thinking about it, and I was just like, do levels, do devils. Even when I was witnessing to that young man, I was explaining to him, I'm like, when you read your Bible, you might as well just walk up and kick the devil right in the nuts. You know what I mean? Don't think you're not that it's going to get easy. It's going to get harder than you can imagine. And yeah, it's difficult. It's very difficult. Hang on a second. Stand by. Deploy the windshield wipers. Call the ball. So air strikes and suppressing cover fire. Bro, like, everybody listen to this. You have got to up your game. You need to be praying without ceasing. Like, the barrel's not going to burn out. Like, you have got to pray without ceasing. And you have to see, you got to study on what is your authority, and like what's really going on. You know what I mean? And COVID came in here and just wiped out Grandma. And nobody prays like Grandma. Like every grandma is a freaking A10 warthog in the spirit. You know what I mean? Like, just ridiculous. Like, they're on a level of prayer that is, it's his top tier. Like, it's unmatched in the earth. I don't know if you ever been around a grandma that'll pray for somebody. but the gentle, caring love and that emotional whatever, you know what I mean? Like she is the freaking Delta Force and she could just nuke the devil. You know what I'm saying? But she's persistent strike as well. You know what I mean? You're under fire or whatever else like that. But like grandma, she just knows probably, and will start praying for a man, and then get into a targeted via the Holy Ghost, and say things and like get into guttural sounds. You know what I mean? And I just want everybody to know, we gotta up our game. You know what I mean? We gotta up our game. It ain't about the we need extra food, which we do. We need all that stuff. Don't get me wrong. Holy shit, it's coming. It's coming on. It's coming on, boys. I'm telling you right now. The chickens are coming home to roost from spending a bunch of money we did not have. For sure. Okay? Like it. But it's not the end of the world. It's the significant lack of abundance, which to some is the end of the world. I mean, I remember in 2008, like, the whole financial collapse or whatever, I didn't even notice. Like, I literally, there's nothing in my daily life changed. This is not that. This is bigger than that, and it will touch everybody, and, it could get to the point where, if you don't sign up and you're not going to have no food. However, I'm a truck driver, and I got a ticket for being out of route. Like, there's some town. There's like two roads exactly the same, but like you're supposed to be over here and sit over there. For them to even write me the ticket, they had to have my phone number. Like, they could not write the ticket without the phone number. And I talked to that guy quite a bit, and which two more trucks drove by while I was talking to him, which is kind of funny. But he already got me. Let's drag this out so a couple get by. Dirty dog. Anyway, well, he was actually a real good guy. But we're already there. You can't. I mean, I guess you probably could. You know what I mean? But if you're undocumented, some people might jump out of a U-Haul van and snatch you. You know what I mean? So what's the difference between, a documented person and a non-documented person? I would say if you're not documented, you're probably not part of the beast system. You know what I mean? Like, it's just my own personal thing. I'm just like, what does it really look like? You know what I mean? And there's all the reassurance that if my parents gave me away, and then the United States Incorporated adopted me, birth certificate, and then my straw man, blah, blah, whatever. They've sent me to prison and stuff, whatever. I pay taxes, and, I'm a homeowner, which means that, my property tax is really the rent for living there. Yeah. And the nicer I make it, the more I owe them. So, I'm a slave. You're a slave. The legal term register means ownership. So when I register my car so I can legally drive down the road, I'm letting the state of Texas own my vehicle. If I want to drive it, I have to do certain things. That's becoming part of the system. If I want to deliver a load, I got to scan a thing, click a deal, check the thing. and now that's interconnected with my devices. It's all the same. The government of America wants you to think that China's going to get us. The people in China, what do you think they hear? Oh, America's going to get us. Who's actually fucking with you? Your own government. I figured this out. The one world system happened about 100 years ago. Obviously. I mean, it's not even a baby. You know, there's no baby in what I just said. That was a statement, not a question. That was a statement. Everybody alive, you know, is a slave. The world has been enslaved already. We're just waking up to it. I made a video and I said something about I'm like a germ on a petri dish that figured out, like, you know, holy shit. I'm like trying to crawl off the fucking. Sorry, I'm sorry for cussing. I'm trying to crawl off the microscope, you know what I mean? Oh man, anyways. So when we see the struggle, we should pray. When we don't see the struggle, we should pray. We should pray all the time. Well, my wife, God, when I tell you that God directs my steps, and I'm documenting the journey right now. So a friend of mine, he's got, I think I'm supposed to turn. Oh no, that's going to Houston. I'm going the right way. Let me make sure I'm going the right direction here. I'm just driving around. I don't even know where the fuck I'm at. It's weird because I'm in San Antonio and there's no traffic. In this area, I either go that way to California, that way to the East Coast, or this way to north. I'm headed to. I know I'm going by the house. And I'm going to try to make it up there and do a 10 and go by see Dad, hug his neck, and be in Michigan by Friday morning. You know, just I'm a slacker. Navigate to Sanger, Texas. There we go. All right. There we go. Well, my God, it actually worked that time. Sweet. Okay, so she tells me this thing and she sends it to me, you know, like there's all that friction. And then, yeah, your wife tells you to do something. You know she's right, but you don't want to, but you did anyway. And so I looked this thing up. It's like, you know, text the word Patrick to, you know, 67762 or something. And this deal pops up. And it's this little old, you know, you put your name and your email in there, you know, because it's part of the system. Anyway, so you click on this deal, and then it's the story of St. Patrick, which I heard St. Patrick my whole life. You know what I mean? Anyway, we all know what St. Patrick's Day is, but nobody actually knows St. Patrick. Like, Patrick was a man. This dude.
In half a mile, use the right lane to take a slight right onto I-35. Signs for I-37, US 281.
No, I'm not doing that. Why do you want me to go downtown? I will not.
Take a slight right onto I-35. Signs for I-37, US 281.
Yes, they try to get me to go down here and drive through downtown. No, we're just going to stay on 35. They probably got it blocked off up here with construction. That's probably why it's telling me that. Anyways, so I read this thing and I'm just like, okay, so like this rich kid didn't want to listen to his dad, and his grandpa's like, you know, a thorough Bible knowledge kind of guy. And then him and his buddies are hanging out at the beach
to take exit 159B
like rich kids
toward
do.
Walter Street, Fort Sam Houston.
They get freaking abducted by druids. And like, I don't think, you know, I think about some dude with like, you know, a hood on, and they're all freaking Stonehenge or whatever like that. I did not realize that the root of what we would call satanic and like demon worship and all that shit, that comes from the druids and the pagans and stuff or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I still don't know all of it. I just looked at it long enough to be like, okay, that's bad. And because you want to focus on the light. I'm more concerned with doing right than I am all this evil shit. Because, you know, I want to be drawn like a moth to the light. I don't want the influence of the devil to trick me, right? Anyway, so I limit access to the dark side specifically because the light is better. You know what I mean? It's just better. So my budget of time and effort, I want like 97% light. That way I can dilute any of the bullshit. You know what I mean? Like if I got a glass of dirty water,
In
I
half
just
a mile,
hold it
use
under
the
the
right two
sink.
lanes to take exit
Will you shut the fuck
159B
up
toward Walter
already?
Street, Fort Sam Houston.
Oh, here we go. They got that on the road. I think there'd be construction. I'm not getting off the highway. Anyways, I'm going to be competing with this thing, obviously.
Use the right two lanes to take exit 159B. Then merge onto I-35 frontage road.
So, I read this thing, and then, okay, so he's out there chilling, and then these druid pirates catch him, and then they take him as he's abducted or whatever like that, and they make him a slave, and they got him out here on this hillside. He's like 200 miles inland in a
Keep
Ford
right to
Land.
stay on I-35 frontage road.
Good old Texas.
Continue on I-35
I mean,
frontage
you
road
drive
for
through here
1.5
during the day, and
miles.
it's just they all stop in the middle of the road. You drive through here at night, the road's closed because they're working on it because they think they need an 800-foot tall series of overpasses. They're literally, they got that whole thing shut down just to build an upper level to the street. It's like, why do you need 3 streets intersecting with on-ramps and off-ramps? Makes it very difficult. It makes it very, very difficult. Then they all want to get out here on this side. And then there's the cop, and he wants to park in the lane. You know, he's blocking off the thing, but he can't just move back 5 feet from the road. So all the little cars got to swerve over here. They got all these cars in one lane. Then here's the bus. They got to stop at the railroad tracks and turn on their blinkers and shit. Stop in the middle of the road. Nobody will be in that lane because the cop is out there. So basically, you know, you got a 3-lane service road that's shut down to 1 lane. Sweet. Count it all joy. I'm not walking. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's where the love of God comes in. You know what I mean? That's where your vitamin G kicks in. Anyways, I'm real glad that I'm not walking. That would be much worse. Like, I'm actually getting paid to not walk. I don't care about the price of gas because I don't buy it. So, you know, that's the thing. Really? Did it just turn off? Oh, the other thing clicked off. All right.
In half a mile,
Is this
use
recording?
the left lane to
Am I
take
still
the
there?
I-35 North ramp.
All right. Okay, what we got going on next? Up next on Why is the Road Closed? We have because people are idiots.
Use the left lane to take the I-35 North ramp.
Here we go. That's what we're doing. All right. Didn't even run nobody
Continue on
over.
I-35 North
No
for
cones or
75
nothing.
miles.
Okay, so Patrick, man, he winds up out there for, I don't know, some years. And just going through it, like, you know, like, it sounded like he lived out in the field. I don't think he even had a shelter from the sound of it. And then, like, he's praying everything. And then he gets right with Jesus. You know what I mean? And, like God told him, your boat's ready, or whatever. So he runs off, makes it all the way to the coast, and sure enough, there's a boat. He talks to them, and they're like, nope. And then when he walks away, he prays for them. And, dude, it's the heart. It's where his heart was. He prayed for them. He was like, God, let me ride on, give me the chance to witness to them. It wasn't God, let me on the boat, I got to get out of here. This dude had become a Christian. And he said, his prayer as he's walking away, I don't know if you've ever ran through the woods for 200 miles to escape your years-long captivity. But in the moment that you find the boat that God told you to go to, and they're like, kick rocks. And he's like, God, just please save them. Just open the door where I can witness to them and tell them about you. I love that, man. I love that, dude. I don't know how to. There's not a more appropriate. Like, I'm addicted to that. Like, man, it just resonates with me so much, man. I was just like, fuck yeah, man. You know what I mean? It's just like, ugh, you know what I mean? And then, which that was the same thing when I fed that dog. I threw that little biscuit this morning, that little beet biscuit. I threw it out there and it hit the ground and it rolled. And of course, when I whistled, the dog seen me, but then he's trying to run away or whatever like that. And I whistled a little bit more and I threw that biscuit out there and it hit and it rolled right up there. I mean, within 6 inches of that dog. And he started eating on it or whatever. And I threw the other one and it rolled up there just right beside him. And this is probably 30 yards away. And I'm no athlete, you know what I mean? Like, if you want me to throw the football for money, we're going to go broke, okay? Because, like, I don't practice, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, just perfect shots. And it was just like, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, man, Andy would love this. You know what I mean? And it was like the direct opposite of that time I was picking up that gum, and there was, like, spit in the middle of it. And I was just like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to do 75 hard, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to, like, you know, be excellent. And I'm like picking up gum off the sidewalk. And it's grossing me out and everything. I get back in the truck, I'm like bad at Andy. You know what I mean? I've just never met the guy in my life. And I'm just like, fucker, you got me out here picking up gum. You know what I mean? And not like really mad, but just like, if you're a woman watching this, you don't know what I'm saying probably, but you know what I mean? The guys understand. The accountability. Which, the pro tip, side note, caveat, I've never met the guy. I just heard his words about be better, be excellent. And it altered my behavior because I'm like, I agree. I came into one accord with the word spoken by Andy, and I'm picking up the gun. And then later, I feed the dog, which I probably would have done that anyway. And I just knew that, like, if he seen this somehow, he would approve. Okay? Well, newsflash, I know that God sees everything I say and do. You know what I'm saying? So, this dude that come from captivity and isolation and hardship for years has a mental transformation into Christ likeness. And based off what his grandpa and his dad told him, here he is, walking away from the boat. And he's like, there's just some way that I can witness to these dudes. Because he don't want them to go to hell. You have to experience hardship to the point to break you down to get over your bullshit, whatever flavor that is. And then, not before, after. You can see clearly now, the rain is gone. There's no obstacles in your way. That reminds me of, those are song lyrics. You probably know that as well. Anyway, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. This guy's like walking away, he's like, help them get saved, God. And he's praying for them to be saved. And somebody runs up there like, hey, the guys are hollering for you, man. And, all right, so he gets on the boat. I guess they float around or whatever, wind up, stranded, hungry. And the dude's like, well, you pray to this God of yours, because we're about to die. We ain't got nothing to eat. So he prays. A bunch of pigs show up. You know what I mean? They, killed and cooked the pigs. So, these other dudes, I don't think they were pirates or whatever. Anyway, this guy winds up making it back over there to his house, lives alive for a while, gets formally, thoroughly, studied up and everything, gets a calling to go back to where he was captive. He goes back to where he was held captive previously, and he has like a dream and a vision or something where there's like a letter, and in the letter it's like, hey, come help us out. And he's like, I'll do that. And then he has like another, open vision where they're all crying out. So he's like, I'm going, So he goes over there, and like the dude that went before him, they just burned him. You know what I mean? So he goes over there, and he's in the midst of these druid pagan people, and they're like, human sacrifice, violent, freaking. I think the year was like 375 or something, 420. I don't know. You don't need 420. Holy moly. Anyway, this is some brutal shit, boy. And he volunteers, goes over there, ends up getting locked up a couple times or whatever, but ends up, preaching the gospel. A bunch of them got saved or whatever like that. And then it spread out all throughout the area. And when I say area, like Europe. And then this dude, like, he goes on to explain that this dude gained favor and influence in the politicals and started instituting Mosaic law. He helped institute Mosaic law. That ain't perfect. They don't have like the Mosaic law. Like, they did just copy Leviticus or whatever. But, how you gonna go from the Druids are like, murdering everybody to like, the Mosaic law? You know what I'm saying? And the dude, it said he didn't have a strategy or nothing. All he did was preach the gospel everywhere he went. That's all he did. He preached the gospel, and he leaned on the Holy Ghost to give him the words to say to the people. That was the plan. He walked in obedience to the Spirit. And when I read that, I was like, man. And then I read on a little bit further, and then I see how he had this influence, and then he got like the Mosaic law into the world. And it was like taking over the earth for Jesus. And I was just like, oh, I know why my wife sent me this. You know what I mean? And then I get on and I read the rest of it and where I can. And of course, when I'm seeing these things about, the enemy, I'm just like, yeah, that's the enemy we're fighting today. Okay, well, for like 3 months, I've been seeing this Promethean action group where they're like, it's the British. I'm like, the British? Or whatever like that. And I'm like, oh, it's the fucking Druids, man. It's the modern day, it's the pagan Druids. Holy shit. And it just clicked finally. I'm just like, oh, that's, yeah. So when you see all this Epstein is like the pipeline to the freaking Druids, man. And I was like, well, all these dots connect. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to read this. Well, actually, I made it to the end of this, and still all this stuff wasn't. I mean, it kind of did. In that moment, I'm like, I got to read this on camera. And I know everybody's sick of looking at my face and like, I should probably have the camera up here, but I'm driving, and some bitch keeps falling off. So I got to tighten up my game there and get it to where you guys can just see what I'm seeing instead of looking at me, because like, out there, it's just neater. Like, commentary about, the cops in the road messing up traffic, and then the bus stops at the train tracks, and 3 lanes go down to 1. If you could just see that, or the F-350 running 90 up the side. But if it was easy, there'd be no adventure in that. So anyway, I read it on camera and stuff like that. The video, the thumbnail just says drive. It's a picture of the word drive. Because this dude was like driven by the Holy Ghost, and this dude was happy about it. Okay, so I'm going to shift gears here because I got a brother, man, and man, you don't want to know the things I've seen. You're going through some traumatic situations and stuff like that. If I got a cup of dirty water and I hold it under the faucet, that water's got to run for a while, but it will dilute and get the crud out. But it's a process and it takes time. And I know you think you ain't got time because I'm driving right now, making a video. And I mentioned some things about my schedule where I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 households to attend. They just hug their name and be like, I love you, brother, sister, dad, widow. Yeah. Okay, but I just got to witness to a dude that don't go to church, that ain't read his Bible in a year, that has a calling of great witness. He has the calling of great witness. And this is his most just mild, timid, bashful type of dude with this awesome, huge ministry that I wouldn't even know about if people didn't park me in where I was parked at, and I got to leave and, stop at the truck stop across the street. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just, the pressure's there for a reason, and you have to stay rooted and grounded in love. You, guy from the internet, are developing a root of bitterness that is dangerous to yourself, that it can thwart the goodness that you're able to give to your family. They can build their own house, bro. They cannot replace love coming from dad. And it don't matter the situation. It don't matter. They can't replace you, bro. And you gotta go back, and you need to go back to every place in the Bible that it says joy and look up that word, because it's not just I'm going through a fiery trial and this is making me Christ likeness, so I should count this as joyful because I know where it's going. This is not. The end is happiness and joy. English word joy. Exceedingly glad now that I'm here at the destination. I'm talking about exceedingly glad right now. That is completely thwarted with the root of bitterness. And the joy of the Lord is our strength. So that joy and that strength has to be in you. And it has to come out of you, because that's the way you dilute it and get that ought not or should not have seen out of you. When you see something and there's a situation and it's triggering a traumatic event, that ain't nothing to sneeze at. That's a very serious situation, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you got to be a dad to your kids. I know great soldiers that are terrible dads. I know great soldiers that are excellent dads, husbands, pastors. And considering the two, I'll be honest with you, one of them's got a root of bitterness, one of them's got a root of love. I hope you can hear that in love. And I hope I'm confirming. I hope. I know I'm confirming with this video something that everybody has told you in their own particular way. And you know it too. And you're running from it. And you're kind of being a spoiled kid about it. I'm just going to be honest with you. You probably punched me in the face one day. And that's okay. I got it covered. I'm not even mad about it. I will count it as joy, knowing that you got over your bullshit. If I got to catch a fair one, hey, cool. I'm literally joyful right now thinking about that. Like if I told this dude, you know what I mean, quit being bitter. You know what I mean? The bitter root is for the bitch. You ain't no punk. You know what I mean? And you can prove it by being a good dude, and then just kind of being a dick about it. Go ahead and punch me in the face. And that thought is making me exceedingly happy right now. For real. For real. And for the record, man, I'm sorry I ain't been there for you in person. I'm fucking busy too. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad was busy. I'm like, Dad, I need a pair of shoes for school. He said, you don't need shoes, you need a job. And he just walked. That's all he said, bro. That's all he said. He walked over there, hopped in a truck, drove off. Didn't see the dude all summer. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking 1988. I'm barefoot. I've been barefoot for 4 years. You know, there's going to school and the kids making fun of you because you stink or you stutter or, you know, you don't have shoes. I come to school one time. I went to Locust Grove. I'll never forget this. I was like, we were getting ready for school and everything. We go all the way into Pryor, which was a big deal. We're going to town. And we go in this store, Goodwill, and I'm looking through there and everything, and I find this coat, and it's just got like 30 pockets, man. It was like blue. The inside of it was red. It had a little zipper hood thing. And just pockets everywhere. I was like, there's a pocket for everything on this deal. And it was cool, man. And I would probably not make it so cool today. But I liked it, man. And I got it for like $1, maybe $2 or whatever. And I remember I had worked cut thistles with a machete. And I think I was getting 50 cents. 50 cents or $1, something. I think it was 50 cents an hour because I remember I worked, but I was a kid, you know what I mean? So I only worked like 7 hours. And yeah, it was like, the dude went ahead and gave me $4 for a day's work. And to be honest with you, if you took a guy from Denton, Texas, picked him up down there at the Home Depot, and took him out there to cut thistles like that, I did more in 3 hours than a grown man would do in 10 of these lazy bastards they got today. I'm just going to tell it straight. And those guys would want $20 an hour, and they'd probably quit you. I don't know if you've ever cut thistles with a machete, no gloves, and stack the thistles to burn. Yeah, which I did use a rake to rake them up in a pile. So, looked like I was just grabbing the thorns with my hand because I'm not stupid. But I did get thorns because it's freaking thistles, man. Anyway, yeah, man. And the guy didn't want to use a brush hog because he didn't want to disperse the seed everywhere. He wanted to cut my hand, stack to a pile, and burn. And, you know, he wanted the whole field done. And me and my sister was out there chopping at it and everything. And we worked out there for days. And then he's like, he paid us, but we didn't really get done what he wanted. And anyways, we go to town and I'm spending like this $1 or $2. So this is like half a day's slave wage for this coat. And I'm just thrilled to death. I go to school and I'm like, yeah, man, look at my coat, this and that. And they're like, where'd you get that? I was like, oh, I got it down there at Goodwill. Like, I didn't realize there was like a stigma because I'm from the end of the last dirt road. And they say, oh, man, they just made fun of me. You know what I mean? And before I do it, I was embarrassed. I got tricked out of my coat, bro. And seeing these things, you know, your trauma is tricking you out of your dad. You're getting to be a dad. You're getting to be a grandpa in that way. You know, it's like the end of the movie, Lord of the Rings. Frodo's all fucked up. Like, you don't have to be fucked up like Frodo, man. Like, and the way you do that is you lay that down. That's not your burden to carry. You're not God. I'm not either. I've been through some shit, and I've had to lay it down. And I'm not stupid. I ain't the smartest guy, but I ain't stupid. Well, fuck, maybe there's a strong case either way, right? And then when you see, you know, you strive so hard, and who's going to come beside me to, you know, save the children or whatever? Well, I want to remind you that Gideon got a bunch of people together, and what happened? God said, there's too many. So he whittled them down. There's too many. Have them go get something to drink. They went and got something to drink. They stuck their face in the water. They said, okay, there's 300 people. That's enough. But any more than that, did y'all think you did it yourself? So, it's all right to be little bitty. Might as well share. Might as well smile. Life goes on for a little bitty while. Yee-hoo. What is that? Is that Alec Jackson? That's what I would recommend. I would recommend that you just set your jaw and just, I mean, get some Alec Jackson in you. I mean, I like the heavy metal and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy that. But I have to have a work-life balance. Dude, I need a spiritual and a worship balance as well. You know what I mean? I'm just saying these things because I know it'll help. I'm not guessing. You know, there's no guesswork. You know, guy from the internet. Like you need some Alan Jackson in your life. Like freaking go fishing with your wife, bro, and listen to Alan Jackson and stuff, man. For real. Just like a day in the life of the native redneck Oklahoma guy. Just everything you think about it. When you hear about a shit kicking hillbilly, you know, there's a goodness to it, man. And I know you got it in your life. I know that you're living in Oklahoma and all this kind of stuff like that. And you know you've suffered the slings and arrows. And, you know, you've done these great things or whatever. You know what I mean? But it's all right to be little bitty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's this whole other side to the craziness of Oklahoma that's just this simple, I love you, let's catch some crawdads. You know what I mean? And you can be a little kid again. You know what I mean? You can let your, you know, before the trauma flourish. You can do that after you lay it down. And that comes through a lot of prayer, man. I'll be honest with you, it's a lot of prayer. I stayed so busy. Yeah. I'll tell one more story and I'll shut the fuck up. I stayed so busy because I was running from the things that I didn't want to deal with. I'll deal with that later. Go, 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 go. I'll deal with that later. Go, 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 go. I'll deal with that later. Go, 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 go. 31 years later, I have a dump truck on my back. And my wife's like, you didn't put the lid down, blah, blah. I'm just like, fuck. And I'm driving down the road and I'm like, why am I so mad that this woman asked me to put the shitter lid down? And I feel a conviction, and I feel this hurt, and I'm just like, I'm a piece of shit. I am yelling at my family over nothing. I'm causing a scene, like I'm creating a ruckus. And I asked God, I'm like, why? You know what I mean? I was doing so much. I had so much going on. It was all kingdom business. Like, I did not work for $1. I was fresh out of incarceration. Would not work for $1. Dude, I'm writing down song lyrics and handing them out to the churches and anybody that'll listen. Just walking around. Like, you know, like you find that papers it's got like an estate sale or something. You know what I mean? Like I'm leaving song lyrics on people's windshield like a flyer. You know? And I seen so much miraculous in that. And then I wind up, you know, and then I end up getting a job. And in that month, I had one $20 bill and I gave it away. I had food. One guy gave me a house. Another guy gave me a house. This other dude, he gave me 3 trailer houses that were kind of fucked up. And I walked down to the neighbor or whatever, and I'm down there, and I'm witnessing to them and stuff like that, and they're not getting it. You know what I mean? And I'm just torn on the inside. And I walk out, and, you know, it's about boot deep snow. And I have just given out, man. And I'm just like, this is terrible. It's not going to get any better. I had lost all hope. And I'm just like, I'm just going to take off my coat, lay down in the snow and die. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm walking and walking and walking. I get tired. I fall down on my knees. I take my coat off and everything else like that. And I'm about to just lay down in the snow is my plan. And I kind of just hunched over. And I grabbed fists of snow in my anger and rage. And I said, I can't do it. I can't do it. God, you're going to have to do it. And I heard it just, if somebody was standing there, I think they'd have heard it too. Just as plain as day, with just a solid, just real level voice. It's about time you figured that out. And I went, oh. And just like that, I put my coat on. I was like, well, if they're not, I'll just go over here and do this, I guess. Walk out there. Went to my buddy's house. One of the ones I'm fixing to go do an intervention to cast demons off of. I said, hey, can I borrow your phone? Call my dad. Hey, I'm over here, such and such. I need a ride. I'll be right there, son. Click. Not 20 minutes later, 30-minute drive. 20 minutes later, my dad pulls in this Dodge pickup. It's blue with white racing stripes, which I now own that truck, but I got to put a motor in it. Anyway, hopped in the truck, started a whole new chapter of life. And I was freed, man. I was freed. And then I find myself, arguing and bullshit years later. It got everything going on, and I'm just like, what am I doing? And it's like, oh man, I got to lay this down. I got to let God have it. So I'm out here driving the truck, and I got 13 hours in the fire, and it's just like, nobody will do what I say. And then it dawns on me, like, I'm not doing what God told me to do because I'm worried about it. Who am I to worry about these things? God just made me a steward. Did I think that it was my business? Did I think it was my ministry? Did I think it was my house? No. I'm a steward. It's all God's. I gave my entire life force and body to the Creator. I'm just a snot-nosed kid playing. However, how all this works out is not my responsibility. You're not my responsibility. They are not your responsibility. And you're taking on the weight of the world to the point that you're getting bitter. And in the process of going and doing it and doing it and going, there's a little bit of pride there. And that's all the enemy needs. And then you're in a situation, you're putting boot to ass to get rid of the, druids. And you see some things that are out of line. And that trauma is froze in your head. And things will trigger it to come back. Trigger it to come back. Trigger it to come back. Well, how are you going to give it all to God? Give it all to God. Give it all to God. You know what I'm saying? There's a song with Dolly Parton and like Brad Paisley. There was Jesus. That's like it's playing in my head. I can't sing like Dolly Parton. And yeah, like she hits this high note. There was Jesus. You know what I mean? And that's what you need to do, bro. Like you need some there was Jesus. And you need to cry that out. And you need to like face the freaking demon and be like, here's this situation. There was Jesus. Like, bro, I'm getting over some shit just trying to help you right now. Like, I'm seeing things in my head that I will never tell another human being. There was Jesus. There was Jesus. In the midst of that, there was Jesus. He was there in them people, the victim, in them people, the perpetrator, and in me, trying to sort the shit out. there was Jesus. In the midst of all of that, there was Jesus. In the midst of all of that, there was Jesus. In the midst of all of that, there was Jesus. And you need to sing, bro. And it needs to be personal. You and him. And when the moment that the enemy sees that the trigger sends you into praise, that's why you'll see me, like, I'll say something about some crazy shit and smile. I'm not psycho. I don't enjoy this crazy shit. But there was Jesus, man. I've been there. I've done that. I've seen that. There was Jesus. There was Jesus. You know? He was there. I don't have to carry that. I know I don't have to carry that. I'm smiling because I'm seeing Jesus. That's what that is. I'm not crazy. Well, I mean, it's debatable. No, for real, man, for real. There was Jesus, dude. He's there. Like, I never really connected it with that song until, like, right now. Like, this is a right now message in time. What time is it? Time check. 4:48. March 18, 2026. Just to get it. You know, I mean, the guy's got to have a hobby, right? You know what I mean? Like, and we're going to take over the earth for Jesus. We can expect a certain amount of blowback. Like, Satan himself will try to kill you. The devil's in the details. So as you go into the details, you face that shit instead of running from it. With some there was Jesus. Own it. Lay it down. Figure it out. Work it out. And if it's a sore subject, good. Good. That's okay. That's part of it. Don't be a punk. And don't be prideful. You know what I mean? Read the first book I've read, seriously, as a man, was the book of Job. And for 20 years, I didn't get it. And somebody pointed it out to me that Job had a form of pride about him. Nobody gets it right, dude. You're human. You're human. We all have a terminal case of human. And that's okay. It's okay. And, you know, I probably freaking stepped on your toes by bringing all this up. But I mean to help you. You know what I mean? Somebody got to tell you. 5 or 6 of them already have. This is just confirmation. Like maybe this is why God don't let me go over there and meet you. You know what I mean? Like I've been over there once. You just wasn't there. So anyways, you know, all pretty good. Just driving around. There's another guy on the internet. He goes by the name of Andy. Thanks to you, some stray dogs got some biscuits this morning. I have a good report that the canines got the beef freaking Hawaiian roll thingy. God, I bet them things tasted great too. I'm hungry now. I've been driving around talking for a while. Oh, another update. A young man was having a baby. Well, his wife was having a baby just a couple of weeks ago. And I talked to him last night. Okay? He was praying for some people up there, and we were out here. I'm just going to say that. It's it's different at the end of the last dirt road. You know what I mean? And I was at the end of the last dirt road. He literally grew up on Slaughterhouse Road. Okay, so as he was growing up, he was my friend's son, and which I consider him. I don't know if I would like technically be like a godfather or whatever, because like we don't roll like that. Like he's his own man. But I was able, like we were texting back and forth or whatever, and he said he was like saying some things about how God was in my life, and how he had told somebody about that, and then he said something about he was at the hospital, and there was other people at the hospital, and he had the urge to pray for them and actually pray for them. And I was like, bro, that is so awesome or whatever. And then there's another fella that's in need of an intervention. And we start chopping it up, talking about that and everything. And I'm like, I think I found them. I was like, yeah, we're going to, I said, well, you know, I got to do some stuff. And then at a different time, like, you know, this actually strategy, let's get a strategy together to go over there and stage this intervention. Show up. I said we're gonna pray for this guy, and then he can figure out these problems himself, because he'll be in his right mind. And he takes back and he's like, "Well, I understand, you know, fasting and praying, and go over here, you know, like so we're gonna fast for a couple days, then go over there and do this intervention deal." And he said, "But I don't understand this. He's gonna figure out this stuff himself." I said, well, he'll be in his right mind where he'll just figure it out. He's like he will be functional again when he's healed. And just knowing the light bulb come on in this dude's head that we're going to go over here and we're going to pray, and then well, I got to be vague, man, because like, you know, confidential. I don't put people's business out here. Well, I kind of do, but anonymous, because yeah, respect. At first, I developed that because I didn't want to get nobody in trouble, because I don't know what I'm going to do, so I got to keep a certain distance. That way, if I just go off the rails, I don't take nobody with me. Because we're, for real, like, that's kind of my thing. Anyway, but later the standoff is because now I'm a content maker that's like, you know, trying to share without outing people's names, because some shit's embarrassing or whatever. Anyway, so I'm talking to him about that, and he's just like, man, that'd be great or whatever. And pretty awesome stuff, man. Pretty awesome stuff. And when I knew that it clicked in his head that this guy who's a significant loved one, you know what I mean? Just like the redemption of a dad. You know what I mean? Epic. You know what I mean? It's like the redemption of dad. That's the revival. That's the revival. You know what I mean? Where we all just quit treating dad like Al Bundy. You know, where the daughter's floozy and the son's some smart ass, and the wife is just like disrespectful. Everybody looking down on dad. He just busted his ass. And all he can cling to is that time in high school where he threw the football good. Because everything else in his life, everybody treats him like shit. Yeah, that's the revival. The redemption of dad. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's the revival. That's the revival that will sweep the nation. When the kids just show up and genuinely thank dad for what he did. Bro, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Anyway, well, I'm talking with this kid last night. It's like this kid, he's freaking 25 years old. Or 30. Anyway. God, I'm old, man. I feel like I'm about 20, to be honest with you, though. So I get out there in that Texas summer, it's about 117 degrees, cranking up that crank handle, trying to get that freaking crank handle to go up. God bless. Yeah, for the landing gear on the trailer, you got to crank it up and down. The handle gets stuck, and that grease gets hot. You'd think hot grease would be smooth. You know what I mean? But it's actually, it's baking into a cake-like substance. So that when you're cranking that thing, I mean, yeah. Plus they'll drag them around and stuff and get the legs bent. So, yeah. Anyway, you got a square tube with another square tube trying to slide via grease, but it's cake now, and the steel is bent, and it's all, you know, semi-truck level, heavy duty. You know what I mean? This landing gear is holding up, you know, 35,000 pounds when it's not overloaded. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna get off here. I'm just gonna post this one. This is the revival of Dad. All right, rock out. Love you guys. Go get them.